The cabin shook so hard that even the flight attendants grabbed onto the seats. Passengers stared at each other with wide, silent panic as the pilot's trembling voice cracked through the speakers. We're going down. Oxygen masks dropped. Children cried. And in that moment of fear, no one expected a quiet 12-year-old girl to stand up from seat 22B and walk toward the cockpit as if she belonged there. Her name was Lily, small, calm, and strangely confident for someone surrounded by chaos. She had been sketching airplanes in her notebook just minutes before the turbulence hit, drawing wings and engines as if she understood every detail. Now she stepped forward with steady breaths, her eyes focused like she had trained for this moment. A flight attendant tried to stop her, but Lily simply whispered, "I can fly." Something in her voice, steady, sure, made everyone pause. The co-pilot had collapsed, the captain was struggling, and the alarms were screaming. Yet this child pressed her hand against the cockpit door, waiting for permission that might decide every life on board. The captain finally turned toward her, sweat running down his forehead. And when he unlocked the door, the entire plane held its breath. Lily stepped into the cockpit, her small shoes barely making a sound on the metal floor. The captain watched her with a mix of disbelief and desperation. Warning lights flashed across the control panel, each one reminding him that time was slipping away. The storm outside wasn't easing, and the plane kept dropping, shaking like it was fighting to stay in the sky. Lily didn't flinch. She rested her hand on the back of the captain's seat and scanned the controls as if she'd seen them before. But how could she? She was only 12. She shouldn't know anything about flying a commercial jet, yet there was something familiar in her calm expression, like she had carried this knowledge quietly for years. Behind her, passengers whispered, trying to understand what was happening. Some thought she was bluffing, others prayed she wasn't. The flight attendants exchanged worried glances, caught between protocol and the chance that this girl might actually help. The captain asked her softly, "Where did you learn any of this?" Lily didn't look away from the instruments. Her voice stayed steady. "My dad used to teach me. We practiced every day." But before the captain could ask more, another loud alarm erupted, shaking the cockpit and cutting off whatever Lily was about to say next. The new alarm was sharper than the others, echoing through the cockpit like a warning no one wanted to hear. The plane dipped again, and the captain gripped the controls, fighting the turbulence that kept pulling the jet off course. Lily stepped closer, steadying herself as the cockpit lights flickered over her face. She wasn't afraid, just focused, as if she had flown through storms like this before. In the cabin, people braced themselves, gripping armrests, praying, whispering. A mother held her baby tighter. An older man kept asking the flight attendant if the pilots were still conscious. No one had answers, and that silence made the fear heavier. The captain looked at Lily again, noticing something unsettled in her eyes, not fear, but hesitation, like she was hiding a truth. "You said your dad taught you," he repeated quietly. "Was he a pilot?" Lily took a slow breath. "He was, before the accident." She didn't explain further, but her voice trembled for the first time, revealing a wound she hadn't meant to show. Before the captain could ask more, the radio crackled with half-broken transmissions from air traffic control. Something about losing the plane's signal. Something about preparing emergency teams. Lily turned to the captain, her voice barely above a whisper. "If they can't track us, we might be alone up here." The plane lurched violently, throwing the captain and Lily against the control panels. Sparks flew from a side console as the storm outside clawed at the fuselage. The wind screamed against the windows, and lightning flashed close enough to make the cabin glow like a strobe. Every passenger was on edge, gripping their seats, some praying, others silently crying. Lily's small hands hovered over the controls, her fingers trembling slightly but her eyes locked on the instruments. "We have to stabilize the engines," she said, her voice cutting through the chaos. The captain tried to guide her, but his own exhaustion was slowing him down. He realized this child, this 12-year-old, might be their only chance. From the cabin, shouts erupted as turbulence tossed luggage and passengers alike. A flight attendant screamed into the intercom, trying to calm everyone, but the panic was spreading faster than the storm outside. Each second felt like a minute, each heartbeat louder than the last. Lily glanced at the radar, her face pale but determined. "If we don't adjust the flaps now, we'll lose altitude too fast," she said. She had an instinct the captain couldn't explain, a combination of memory, training, and something deeper. The storm intensified. Lightning struck nearby, shaking the plane so hard that alarms blared again. The captain's hands tightened on the yoke. Lily took a deep breath, gripping the controls fully, ready to act. Every eye in the cockpit and cabin was on her, waiting for the next move, as the plane dropped into another terrifying plunge. Just as Lily adjusted the flaps and the plane seemed to level for a fraction of a second, a violent jolt threw both her and the captain against the console. The screens flickered, and a warning light none of them had seen before blazed red. The engines weren't just struggling, they were failing, one by one. The storm wasn't their only enemy.